Welcome. Would you like to introduce your
Hello.
name, course, and
So
year?
I'm Megan Rawlings, and I study law at Bournemouth University, and I'm in my second year, so I've just finished.
Would you like to say your hometown?
So I'm from Yeovil, which is a little town in Somerset. So
Okay, that's fine. So, what can you remind us of the course you're taking,
law.
and why did you choose your course?
So I chose law because when I was in school, secondary school, I did a week's work experience in a law firm, and I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to develop more on that. So I took law at A level. Um, And to be honest, I love the case law in the criminal sector, and it just completely developed my interest. So I wanted to study law at university.
So you said you just finished your second year.
Yeah.
What have you thought of your course so far?
So the course has been good. It starts off, I think law is actually quite a very overwhelming course. So there's a lot of casework and there's a lot of reading to do. Um, so when you first come to uni from A level, um, you don't actually quite realize the step up that you are making and how much work that you need to progress onto when you start your first year. Um, so throughout the summer, I remember for first year, we were actually given some work to do before we came to uni. And it was just pages and pages and pages of books, basically. And it was rather boring. It wasn't anything exciting. Um, and I read all of it. And personally, I did not need to read all of it because they never asked about it. It wasn't really necessary. I think it was just an introduction to get you used to reading. Um, so yeah, with law, there's a lot of reading, um, but there is obviously with every subject, there's going to be a boring unit and an exciting unit. Um, so I think at the beginning is probably your main boring units,
And
but
what would you say the
it's
units are that you found boring?
so constitutional law.
Could you explain
It
just briefly what that is?
So constitutional law basically assesses what type of constitution we have in the UK. So we're different to America. They've got a set written constitution. However, we have an unwritten, uncodified constitution. So there are rules, obviously, but they're not specifically written down anywhere. Um, and it's all to do with the royal prerogative and what the Queen can do. Not that she ever chooses to do much, because it would be unconstitutional for her to do so. Um, but I think with constitutional law, it was such a long unit that could have been done in such a smaller time period, if that makes sense. And in our first semester of first year as well, we also had legal skills. Um, and the legal skills unit is basically an introduction to how to write essays, how to present, and how to even read cases and say case names. And when you've already been studying law at A level, you don't really need that. So I think that was quite boring. So I didn't really attend all the lectures because personally I didn't think that I needed them. I would much rather concentrate on contract law, which was in first semester, which I actually struggled with, um, than something I already knew how to do.
Okay. So, did you come from a sixth form or college background?
So I came from a college.
And what subjects did you study at college?
So I took history, law, and English literature.
And did those subjects help you in your course?
Um, yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people, like even I was told before going to uni to do law, not to take law as an A level. And a lot of people actually say that it can confuse you, it can make you think that you're the right way, like you're writing the right way that you should be, when actually uni want you to write in a different way. Um, but I think that taking law, it's not essential. You don't need it at an A level. You can do law without it, obviously. But for me, I think taking law gave me a head start because in law there's a lot of Latin. So a lot of the basic words in law are actually in Latin, and quite a lot of my friends didn't actually take law at A level, and they'd be like, "Oh, what does that mean?" And I'm just like, "Oh, it means this, it means this." And it's like I know that because I took law. So when everyone was confused on just the basics of what a word actually meant, I already knew that and I could step further into the subject because I already knew the basics.
And the English?
Essay writing, probably. So with law, you have a lot of essay writing and reading, like I say. So with English literature as well, it was a lot of reading books and writing about books. So that helped me with my essay writing skills.
Okay, and what do you think the best A level slash subjects are for your course?
So anything relevant, like more current base. So like with history and politics, they're all usually based on current events, or you can interpret it into common. Sorry, you can interpret like it into life events happening right now. So I think anything happening right now, because with law as well, there's a big commercial awareness. So you have to know what's actually going on in the world. Um, so I think if you're studying history and politics, you already start to learn how to actually watch the news or read articles and recognize what's going on. So I think history, politics, anything academically like essay writing would be good. Latin, if it's available to you, because I know not a lot of places do Latin now. But I think that gave me a big head start just knowing the Latin words. But to be honest, I just think at A level, take what you're good at and what you enjoy, because if you don't enjoy it, then you're not going to do well in it. And if you don't do well in it, you might not get the UCAS points that you need to get onto university. So do what you enjoy, really.
Okay, so if we go into the university you're studying at, which is
Bournemouth.
so at Bournemouth University, if we go, you've been there for 2 years now. If we talk about
Mm-hmm.
the best and worst things about studying at Bournemouth University, starting off with the worst.
Okay, so I think the worst things, and I don't think it's more because of the university. I just think that when you come to university, it's such a big step and you feel very overwhelmed. I don't think that you're actually made aware of all of the support that is actually at university. And I didn't really recognize that in my first year. And I just sort of went through my first year not thinking about ever asking for help, really, when actually Bournemouth University does have a huge range of support for people. But I don't think we were sort of made aware of that in
Could
first
you
year when
give
we might have needed it
example
most.
example of some of the support?
So they have career advisors. So if you need a part-time job or you're looking for a placement or anything like that, they're there to help you. You can have meetings with them. They can check your CVs. There's jobs available on campus. So you can actually get a job on campus in one of the restaurants, or you can be a PAL leader. So I was a PAL leader in my second year. Um, and then there's welfare for students and counselling if needed. There's a lot of support out there, basically,
Okay,
which I don't think we were really
told about.
aware of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that's bad, or is that pretty much it?
Um, no, I don't think there's really anything bad about uni, not
Okay.
that I can think
So if
of
we go about
anyway.
the best things about studying at Bournemouth University.
Um, so for me, I mean, this all depends on people and their personal preference. So for me, Bournemouth is really close to where I'm from. So it's only about an hour away, and I've got family here, and I've got my nieces and nephews, and I love spending time with them. So I'm always backwards and forwards. Um, and I think I think that was key actually to helping me with my mental health, because when I was stressed with uni exams or assignments, I knew that I just had to get through that bit and then I could come home and see my family. Um, I appreciate not everyone's going to be able to do that, but even FaceTime with family is brilliant. But for me, the location is great. Um, I also think because it's so close to the beach, because I love the beach, and probably everyone says this about Bournemouth because Bournemouth has got a really nice beach. Um, so I think that was good. And what else? I think the vibe in Bournemouth as well. Like, I've never been a huge city person. So I think if I was to go to London, I'd be so overwhelmed with how busy it is all the time. Um, but I also live in a little village outside of Yeovil, which is so quiet all the time. So I kind of wanted somewhere that was in between. And I think Bournemouth is ideal, really, because it's not huge like a city, but it is still busy all the time. So it's like it's in the middle, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So if we go now into accommodation, where
Mhm.
did you stay in your first year?
So in my first year, I stayed in student village.
And what
Um,
did you think of it?
um, so I actually really enjoy student village. A lot of people, when I tell them that I actually stayed there, they usually turn their nose up. Um, but I actually really enjoyed it because it's like with all the other student accommodation, they're all in blocks of flats. Whereas with student village, it's one little house and you get to make relationships and bond with your flatmates. I think so much better because you're just in one little house. And also, I'm based on Talbot campus, which is where Student Village is. So I'm not one for waking up ridiculously early to get on a bus to travel to uni. So I actually really enjoyed just being able to sort of crawl out of bed and walk into my lecture. Um, so yeah, I think location wise, it was brilliant. And as friendships go with your flatmates, it made us get closer. And we actually all lived together in my second year. Um, yeah, so it was good.
So in your second year, you lived in a house.
Yeah, so a private rented house with the
S-
flatmates I was with
And what
previous.
was that? What was that experience?
Um, Not very good. So the prices in Bournemouth for rent are usually extortionate, really, especially when you come from where I'm from. I know it's not as bad as London, but from where I'm from, it's really expensive. Um, so we had a 5 bedroom house and we were paying £1,850 a month, which isn't too
So about
bad.
£200 each.
I think no. I think it was £370
Oh,
each
okay.
a month, which isn't too bad. But this house was falling apart. Like it wasn't anything amazing. It was just a basic house. It had awful damp. There was no insulation really. It was always freezing, which meant we have to have the heating on basically all the time, which made our bills obviously be more expensive. Um, where it was located, it was a bit not dodgy, but like to actually get into the property, you had to go down a little alleyway and there was no lights. And I didn't really like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, the house was okay. We've moved out now. But yeah, I just think it was very expensive for what it was, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. And I never met my landlord ever, never spoke to him.
Okay. So what do you think the best accommodation is in Bournemouth?
Um, well, so when I was in first year, I think the place to be was actually Home Park, because I think that was near on one of the newest ones at the time. Um, and coming from Student Village, which is just a little basic, tiny little house, to going into Home Park, it looked very glamorous. But Home Park was quite expensive, I think. And then you had to travel to uni if you were on Talbot campus, so that's why I didn't want to go there for me. But I know now that they've built quite a few more new ones, and I think they'd probably be worth having a look at, but they'll probably be expensive.
Okay. So if we go into the Bournemouth area, can you
Mhm.
tell us about just living in the Bournemouth area? First one, like just what about the nightlife?
Okay, so with the nightlife, there is actually so many clubs. So like where I'm from, there is literally one club, like, and that's still half an hour away from me. Like, so it's very quiet here. There's only one club, and it's not a great club. But in Bournemouth, you've got so many different types, and you've got the student run club, which is Fire Station, and then you've got Cameo, Halo, Lost Paradise, Toast Tuesdays in Revolutions. Like there's so many different variations of clubs. So I think for anyone, no matter what your personal preference, you will find somewhere that you can enjoy the nightlife in Bournemouth because there's so many different types.
What's the club to go to?
Um, this is really difficult, and people ask me this all the time. So everyone I know normally says Cameo, but I don't actually enjoy Cameo that much. I think it's usually on a Wednesday, all the societies, especially the sports societies, will have their society night. So they'll all go to Cameo. So Cameo is usually rammed. It's always so busy. And if you're not there when the doors open, you'll be queuing for like 3 hours. It's ridiculous. But with the old fire station, I quite enjoy the old fire station. It's still busy and usually you have to get tickets. Especially for Lollipop Friday. But I really enjoy our fire station. But then I really enjoy Toast as well at Revs. But like I say, that's really busy as well. So I think it just depends on the nights you're going and what events are on. Because I'm not one for huge crowds. So if it's so busy and I've got queue for ages to get in, I would rather not go. So I'd rather go somewhere that's quieter, if that makes sense. But yeah, so I think the one I went to most was probably Toast. So if I
Those
had to pick,
Tuesdays.
yeah.
Okay. So if you go more into the shops, obviously you said you live in a smaller town to Bournemouth. So
Mhm.
in Bournemouth, are there a good variety of shops, or have you got your basics?
So compared to where I'm from, it's basic high street shops. But in Bournemouth, there are more branded shops, if that makes sense,
Like
that you
Primark.
wouldn't have in my town. But then it's not like going to Bristol shopping. It's not like going to Cabot Circus where they've got all the brands and stuff. So I think it's sort of somewhere in the middle. Um, but I've never not been able to find something in Bournemouth. If I ever needed anything, I could always find it.
And what about the food? Is there a good variety of food, or is it kind of your basics again?
Um, yeah, no, I think there is a good variety. So there's all the branded food like Nando's, Mackey's, Domino's, everything like that. And then you have all the small businesses as well that deliver. And delivering for me is huge because where I live, no one delivers to me food, literally no one. So to be able to sit in bed in the morning hungover and order a Mackey's is probably one of the best things. Um, so yeah, I think it's great, really. And you've always got someone to deliver to you. So,
So if we go into, you obviously said you're finishing your second year and you're
mhm,
studying law at Bournemouth University. If you were
mhm.
talking to yourself 2 years ago before you're coming to university, what general university advice would you give yourself?
Um, so I think if I knew, looking back now, I would definitely invest more in networking. So I didn't actually realize the importance of networking until now, really, especially with law. Um, so I think when you start, just put yourself out there, but like be you, but enjoy it, but definitely put yourself out there and start networking. And LinkedIn is a great place to start. Um, and I think doing a vacation scheme as well in your first summer is brilliant. I didn't personally do one because I wasn't really aware. Like with my first year, I just sort of plodded through it and just got through done what I needed to do. I didn't do any more than that. And I really regret it now. I wish I did more. Um, but it can be hard to do more because you are so busy, like all the time. So it's definitely hard to do more. But even trying to get a week work experience somewhere in the summer or a vacation scheme, anything like that will definitely boost your CV. So when you get to my stage, it's a lot easier for you because I've got a placement to do next year, which is one of the other great things that I really enjoy about Bournemouth Uni is that we're offered a placement. Um, it's been really difficult due to coronavirus because a lot of firms have actually said that they're not taking anyone anymore, which is a real shame. Um, but I think from the get go, if you have more legal experience and you've done vacation schemes and you've got a good network and you've put yourself out there, it's a lot easier to get a placement. Um, so, like, I know me and a lot of my friends have really struggled to find a placement. I don't know if that's because of everything going on or because of the little experience that I have, or I think it's because of the coronavirus at the minute, because a lot of firms have been set back.
Okay. And what advice would you give to someone starting at Bournemouth University?
Um, so I think with first year, they always say that it doesn't count, when actually it does count. I know it doesn't count towards your degree, but if you're looking for work experience or placements, your employers, the first thing they have is your first year grades. So I think it's definitely important to make sure that you've got some good grades behind you and some experience. But also with university, it can be so daunting at first. I think you just need to be you, and you need to have fun, and you need to make friends, because you need support around you, because if you don't have support, it can become really challenging. So yeah, just enjoy it and have fun, but don't just completely think that first year doesn't matter, if that makes sense.
And lastly, what advice would you give to a first year going to study law?
Um, don't dwell too much on reading. So, like I say, it's such a heavy reading course. You have to be reading all the time. Um, I think that each person will actually find their own way to skim read, to be honest, because the amount of reading we get given in a night is near on impossible. Um, so do not doubt yourself and think, oh, because I haven't read those 200 pages, I'm not good enough, because that is not the case. Like, everyone is their own person, and we all learn in different ways. And if you only need to read 50 of those pages to understand the subject, then that's fine. So don't doubt yourself. I think with law, it's so highly competitive that a lot of law students will go on LinkedIn or go on their Instagram and see all these lawyers or aspiring lawyers doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that, which they haven't done. And I think it can put you down, when actually you shouldn't be put down by that. Like, it is hard and you will get there, and you just need to do what you can do to improve yourself in a way. So to get the experience and to widen your network, but don't stress about the nitty gritty of all the reading. Like, because I did that and it didn't get me anywhere, because the more stressed you are, the more you don't take things in. So stress about it and trying to get the reading done, when you're sat there stressing that you're not going to get it done, you're not even taking it in anyway. So there's no point reading it.
Okay. So while at university, did you acquire a job?
Um, yeah, so in my first year, I wanted to settle in first semester, so I didn't look for a job in my first semester. But when I came back after Christmas in January, I actually started working at Park Dean Holiday Resort just up the road. So I was just a bartender in the holiday resort. It was really fun actually, and it gave me a break from uni, if that makes sense. So instead of coming home worrying about doing all this reading that we had, I could go to work for a few hours and earn some money and not be stressed about money, and take my mind off of all the reading. So yeah, and then I worked there until the summer, and then obviously came home. And then for second year as well, I got a job at B&Q in Bournemouth at Castle Point. Because I've worked in B&Q from a young age, so I know what I need to do basically. So it was quite easy for them to hire me. And obviously I asked my managers to put a good word in for me. So yeah, I worked there, but then coronavirus happened, so I came home and transferred to the B&Q in the Oval.
And did you join any societies?
Yes, society, both my first year and my
Could you
second
just say that
year.
again? Sorry, it just froze for a
The
second.
law, sorry, I joined the Law Society,
Okay. And what do you
and that
think?
was in first and second. Sorry.
What do you think of joining? What did you do? What did you kind of do in the law society? What do you think of it?
So I wasn't really involved in the Law Society at all, really. Like, I don't think I even followed like their social media. I just joined it because I thought this is what we need to do. Like, on the first day, I'm pretty sure the Law Society came into our law class and was like, "We're the Law Society, sign up, blah blah blah." And we're like, "Oh, okay." So we all signed up, but we wasn't really involved. And then you have the law ball in first year, which is probably the first Law Society thing I really went to. And that's around Christmas time. And that was actually really enjoyable. So I think I'm not sure about now, but definitely in my first year, the Law Society was actually one of the only societies that did a ball. So I think that was quite unique to law. And it was an opportunity to meet students from different years. So that was quite good. Whereas this year, I've actually attended quite a lot more of the events. And a lot of my friends are actually on the society. So they actually do these things. So they'll be like, oh, Meg, we're doing this for the Law Society. Do you want to come? I'll be like, yeah, okay. So I think I was way more involved this year than I was in first year. And I think that with the right people running the Law Society, it could be a great thing. And like they always advertise events and opportunity on their Facebook page, which can be really good as well. So yeah, I definitely think if it gives out the opportunities that this year did, then it is a great thing.
Okay. And can you tell us about your freshers?
Okay. So freshers for me, I got one of the wristbands that you can get. So there's these wristbands that allows you to get into certain events. And I got the student union one, which was basically all the old fire station events. I didn't go to all of them because there were so many of them. And like I say, it was really daunting the first 2 weeks. And then there was other events on in other clubs as well that I'd rather go to that one rather than the old fire station one. So if I'm honest, I think the wristband, was actually a bit pointless because I didn't go to enough of the events
To make it worth it.
to make it worth it. And also with freshers as well. I mean, I came to uni with, I think, about £20 to my name. Like, I did not have any money when I came to uni, which is another thing that I regret. I definitely wish that I had savings. Now, it doesn't affect me much. But in first year, I was constantly in and out of my overdraft. But yeah, it put a massive dent in my overdraft. And then, I don't know, I just think it wasn't really as good as I thought it was going to be because quite a lot of the events were actually on at some point throughout the year or this year. So my first or my second year, the events that were on during freshers were on this year. And I think I probably went to more events in freshers for second year than I did in my first year. So yeah.
So obviously you went to university, meaning you chose it over apprenticeship slash going right into work. So why did you
Mhm.
choose university over these two options?
So I think when I was in school and college, I think that there was a very set traditional route. I mean, we knew about apprenticeships, but they weren't advertised on the scale that they are today. Um, so if I was in that stage now, I might have actually chose to do an apprenticeship, but I just did not know enough about it, if I'm honest. And I just thought law, you go to uni, you do your LPC, you do your training contract, and you're qualified. Like that was the route that I thought there was. I mean, I knew about apprenticeships, but I didn't know how much they can be beneficial. And I think it also depends on the person that you are. So, like with me, I did want the uni life. I know it's a bit cheesy, but like I did want to go to uni and I did want to make new friends and I did want to go out and have fun. Like I wanted to do all of that. So I think with an apprenticeship, it wouldn't have been as exciting or as big of a step, if that makes sense. Like um, for me anyway, like I think apprenticeships are great, and I think it would be great to be earning while you're in training and learning because from someone who was in and out of their overdraft, like I could have really done with that. Um, but no, I mean, looking back, I think they should have been advertised more because I know a lot of people that came to uni because they thought that was their only next step, if that makes sense, when actually there is a lot of other things that you can do to be qualified or train in whatever you'd want to train in.
Okay. So at this point, we let students kind of have a free for all, I like to call it, where you just literally say what you want. If you want to give advice, if you want to give out your social medias, so your LinkedIn's, like you said, with the networking, your Instagram's, literally what you want, and just literally you can say what you like. As I said, advice, tips, literally wherever. The floor is yours.
Okay. So I think I really just do think that people should get involved as much as they can. So, like in my first year, I was a student rep, so that allowed me to meet more people and attend meetings with the faculty, which you wouldn't be part of if you wasn't doing that. So I think that was hugely beneficial. And then in my second year, I was a power leader, which actually allows me to give advice to the first years and help them with their transition into uni life. It's also paid, so that really helped. So yeah, I just think dive into it, like, but enjoy it. Like, you have to enjoy yourself. But I think networking is key and experience is key, especially for law, because it's so competitive. There's so many people out there exactly like me, like, and exactly like my friends. Like, it's so competitive. So you've really got to do something to make you stand out.
And sorry, I was
Sorry.
going to say, do you want to shout out your LinkedIn just for networking? If any law people want to network with you?
Yeah. So on LinkedIn, I'm just Megan Rawlings. So you can find me on there, and if you have any questions or want any advice about anything, just give me a message.
Okay. So if you just want to end the video saying, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'm plugged in.
Okay. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'm plugged in.
Perfect. Just going to end the video there.